What is a $1 billion personal brand to you? What does it stand for? What do you need to have? And can you give us some tips? You've built an incredible brand online.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I think, okay, first of all, ALP encompasses everything: altitude, logic, and pressure. And I think that to have a $1 billion brand, one, it'd be nice if you actually put $1 billion on the board. A nice thing. Let's start with actually doing that, right? So today, as I stand here, I've done $2.5 billion. So, and maybe even a little bit more. I stopped counting in 2019. So that would be the first step. Don't fake the funk. Actually have the altitude. Be the guy. There's a reason why I don't do many podcasts. I did the Brad Lee, and I'm doing yours because I like the way that you came at me. I don't believe that most of these guys that do podcasts are worth my 30 minutes, to be quite honest.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not pandering to anybody's audience because I don't sell no courses.
Yes.
You know, so I think number one would be have the altitude. Actually be that person. Don't fake the funk. Okay, that's going to be the key of building a $1 billion brand. Actually take the time to become that guy. People respect that, man.
Yes.
And you know what? People are smarter than you give them credit for. People can smell the fake.
Absolutely.
And they can smell the real. A fisherman can always spot another fisherman. You know, so if you could take your time to actually become that person, I think that that's going to be extremely beneficial. Another thing I think is that in order to cut through and clarify all the noise, you have to be genuinely you. So I'm genuinely me. My brand is who I am. This is who I am. I'm never going to change. I'm brash. I'm to the point. Sometimes I offend, but I am who I am. And the points that I make are epic.
And you have
they're like undeniable.
You got a great
and I'm a contrarian by nature, right? So yes. I think that's the part of branding. You have to be who you are. If you think about a guy who's extremely polarizing, like a Donald Trump character, who I've had a lot of dealings with growing up in that world in New York, a guy like that is unabashedly who he is.
Yes.
And that is the brand that's created, right? So he represents the brand, and he's the brand 24/7. Whether you like the brand or not, that's the brand he made. Okay, it's a brand of altitude. And most people are afraid of showing their altitude. So I have a call every morning called the Power Hour with contractors, developers. And last week we did an exercise, and I went and I asked everybody, it's about 25 guys on the call in the morning on a Zoom, and I asked them, what makes you great? What makes you the man? And everybody had marbles in their mouth. And it's because you've been told to not boast about yourself. Right? But you got to remember that when you're creating a brand, everything you're doing is supposed to be about how great this brand is. But when you understand that it's not for you, it's for your customer, you'll get better at it. So if you take like Trump for an example, everything he does is the best thing in the world. This is the best team. This is the greatest thing we ever did. Blah, blah, blah. He takes credit for everything. If you recognize it's more for you than it is for him, it's so the customers who are deathly afraid feel more comfortable and warm with doing business with that brand, then you'll understand why it's very important to be a guy who's out there taking credit for everything and pushing it and telling the world how great you are. Because you got to cut through the noise. You got to get exposure. People, if they don't know you, they cannot do business with you, dude. Nobody can pay a bill they do not have. Right? So if you're going to do business with me, you got to know me first. And if you're going to pay me, I got to send you a bill. The only way you're getting a bill is if you know who I am.
Yes.
So I got to make noise, and I got to be the guy in the middle of the marketplace screaming on the bullhorn. That's how you create a brand. A $1 billion brand is one of excellence. And so you'd have to uphold that. You have to uphold excellence. So when you're on a podcast or when you're doing your business dealings, know your stuff. Be excellent and practice it. You know, there's nothing better than being a great communicator.
Great.
Like I've done business with very successful guys that have companies that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars that you'll never know. They put piles in the ground, they dredge water. These are contractors who can't read. Some of them can't write. They got $50 million in the bank though.
Wow.
The problem is they don't have a brand, and they never will because they cannot communicate. So there's nothing better than good communication, and you can practice your communication. Writing scripts and talking to yourself and listening to yourself back and talking to yourself in the mirror. I think all of that is a part of building a brand, and building $1 billion brands based on really being excellent.